Hey everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve, and yes, I did buy the DJI Avata Fly More kit. And yes, it is designed for beginners to the FPV hobby or new drone pilots. So that's why I'm making this super awesome, super cool tutorial video, which is going to show you the potential of the Avata 2, what you can do with it, and how you do it. So check this out. If you bought the Avata 2 Fly More kit, it comes in a beautiful carry bag. Open the carry bag and take out the contents. If you purchase the Fly More kit, it comes with 3 batteries. Take those 3 batteries and place them in the battery charger. Now it's time to charge everything up. Place a USB-C cable into the bottom of the motion controller 3 and you'll see the charge lights come on. Do the same for the goggles 3 and you'll see the charge lights come on. And again, do the same for your batteries and you'll see the charge light of each battery come on. Please be aware that DJI does not include a battery charger in the kit. You have to use one of your cell phone chargers or something much more powerful. If you use a cell phone charger, it will take an awful long time to charge up the batteries. Pay attention to how slow the charge indicator light is moving. And if you use a cell phone charger to charge your goggles 3, they will charge up very slow. Look at how slow the green indicator charging light is moving. But if you use a dedicated charger like this ISDT200, everything will charge up twice as fast. As an example, look at how quickly the charge lights are moving on the batteries now. And the same for the goggles 3, they are now charging up twice as fast. I'll place a link to the ISDT200 below this video, just in case you're interested in getting one. Now that all the batteries are fully charged, place a battery in the Avata 2. Also make sure you remove the gimbal guard. Now power on your goggles 3, 1 short press, followed by 1 long press and hold, then a release. Then power on your Motion 3 controller by pressing the power button once, then pressing it a second time and holding it, then releasing. And finally power on your DJI Avata 2, press the power button once, press a second time and hold, then release. Next, plug the included USB-C cable into your goggles, download the DJI Fly app on your cell phone, then open it. Then connect the cable coming out of your goggles to your cell phone. Follow the steps on screen to activate your DJI Avata 2 and do all the firmware updates. Now you're ready to go fly. Now in this portion of the video, I'm going to quickly show you the picture-in-picture you get with the DJI Goggles 3. It's a pretty cool thing and I kind of like it. So up front you have 2 cameras in the goggles and you can switch to those cameras so that you can see your surrounding area as you're flying or as you're talking to somebody. The only problem I have to show you this is that when I switch to picture-in-picture, it freezes the video that I'm trying to record out onto my cell phone. So I can't show you that, but I'm going to simulate it. So the way I'll simulate it is I'll put an Insta3 camera up here on top of my goggles, and wherever I look with the goggles, that's what you see, and I'll make it look like it's a picture-in-picture, just like it looks inside the goggles. All right, so I'll put the goggles on. The Insta360's up here. So my goggles are on now, and all I can see is what is coming out of the camera down here on the Avata. So in order to see picture-in-picture, I have to tap twice on the side of the goggles. Tap, tap. So there we go. Now I see the image coming from the Avata is up in the corner of my lens. So if I look around, this is what I see, and I'm going to show you, it's very zoomed in. So right now I can look at the camera that's recording me and I'm zoomed all the way in. It's almost like the camera is right in front of my hands. I can touch it, but it's quite a distance out there. And to get out of picture-in-picture, you tap twice and you're out of picture-in-picture. If you're flying with the motion controller, all you do is tap the side button twice and you'll go into picture-in-picture. Tap, tap, and I'm into picture-in-picture. So I'll tap twice to take off. Motor start, and I'm gonna have it go up beside me. Make sure it doesn't hit me. Okay, let me look over where it is. There we go, I see the drone up there. All right. So let me move it forward a bit. There we go. Take it over here in front of me. So now let's spin it around so it looks at me, and there we go. So now the drone is filming me and I'm looking at the drone at the same time. And in my goggles, the picture-in-picture is working, and I believe I'm recording. Hopefully I'm recording. Let me double tap the side button to go out of picture-in-picture. Okay, now I just see myself. So now if somebody was standing beside me and talking to me, I could have this camera filming me plus the ones in my goggles, or if I was elsewhere filming something else, like over here. Let's go way out here in my backyard someplace. Go around the corner. There we go. So the drone's around the corner now, and double tap. There we go. So I'm in picture-in-picture. You can see the camera in front of me, but the drone is way back there. You should be able to make it out. I'll stare at the drone while I bring it back to me here. Try not to crash into anything. The picture-in-picture works by double tapping here, using this and double tapping on the button on the side. But if you have the DJI Remote 3, there are no buttons on here as of this time to turn on picture-in-picture. You have to do it by tapping on the side of your goggles. All right, so hopefully that answers everybody's question on picture-in-picture. Now the reason I'm going to do an indoor flight is because one of the most common questions I get asked about FPV drones is from people who have never flown an FPV drone before but want to fly indoors. And a lot of them all say it's for real estate purposes. So my guess is that they've watched a lot of YouTube videos and they saw professionals flying FPV drones in and out of houses and it looks really cool, very smooth, very cinematic. However, those are professionals. An amateur, a beginner cannot do that. But with the DJI Avata 2, you can do the same thing. Now, if you're going to fly an FPV drone indoors, it's best to use a transmitter with joysticks on it because you have very, very good control of the drone. However, if you buy the Avata 2, it only comes with the motion controller 3. But once again, the Avata 2 was designed for beginners, so a beginner could fly this indoors right out of the box to make real estate videos that look really cinematic. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it, but you will have to change some settings in your goggles. So for this video segment, I'm only using the goggles, I'm using the Avata 2, and I'm using the motion controller 3, everything that came in the kit. Power on our Avata 2, plop it down, power on our goggles 3, and power on our motion controller. We're all set. And I have the goggles hooked up to my cell phone. I'm going to record the video because the video only records on the goggles when the motors start, and we don't need to start the motors right now. So I'm going to record the settings I'm going to change inside the goggles, which are the settings you need to change to fly this indoors. So now to change the settings, what you have to do is grab that toggle joystick that's at the top of your FPV goggles and yank it to the right. So let's yank it to the right. You'll see a menu opens up. We're going to go down to settings, and we're going to go down to camera settings right here. Make sure your aspect ratio is 16:9. Make sure your video quality is at least 4K 60 frames per second. Make sure your field of view is on ultra wide. You know, you can select all these here. I'm not going to select any of them. That's the best one. Make sure your electronic image stabilization is on rock steady. You could put it on horizon steady if you want, but I like rock steady. And make sure you're going to store all your information on the SD card that you stuck in your Avata 2, and make sure you format the SD card before you go fly. There we go. So let's hop out of that. Now you want to go into settings one more time, and this time we're going to go to the motion controller. So go to control, motion controller, and we have to set it for indoor flying. Go to gain tuning. You see I've done that. Click on this, and then you see the first option is normal mode, and then you have sport mode. We're going to play with normal mode first. So in normal mode, make sure you set the speeds to a minimum speed for indoor flying. So here we go. Lateral flight speed, it's at 1.5. Let's crank that back to 0.5. Max vertical speed, you don't want to be smashing into the ceiling, so let's drop that down to 0.5. Max forward speed, it's on 8. That's insane for indoors. You're going to crash into every wall in the house. Oops. So you want to put that down to something like 1. Let's go all the way down to 1. We'll put it at 1.5, which is good. And then max backward speed, you might want to slow that down so you don't back up into something, but we'll put it at 1. There we go. Now, when you're ready to go fly outdoors after doing all this, you do have a reset option right here. If you click on that reset button, it will reset all the settings back to the way they were from the factory when you first receive your Avata 2. So you don't have to go and change them again. So let's hop out of that. Okay, so we should be ready to fly with our motion controller now. Now I can put my goggles on and fly it with the goggles on, or I can fly it just by staring at it flying around here. But I guess what I'll do is I'll put the goggles on. So just keep in mind when you fly indoors that you can't have your house very dark, or the house you're going to fly in, because the sensors on the bottom of the Avata have to see the ground. So it needs light to see the ground to stay stable. So let's put the goggles on. Okay, I'll just relax back here like this. All right, so with the motion controller, you have a big red button. I can't see it because the goggles are on. You tap it twice to start the motors. Tap, tap. And then you hold it down to take off. It's going to go straight up. Going up. It should stay steady in the air. And now you are in full control of your drone with recording and everything. Now, in order for your Avata to move to the left or the right, you have to pull the trigger a little bit. So I'll pull it. You see a little circle? Now I'm going to just tilt my wrist and I'll turn to the left. Now I'm going to fly through the house. Just a little bit of forward speed because we slowed everything down. Very cinematic. You don't want to make a video, abrupt movements or anything like that. Just flying through. There we are. So now you're doing your real estate video. You're flying through your family room. I don't even remember what room that was. I got to go into my kitchen. If you want to go up, take that little circle, move it up in the air, and we'll go into our messy kitchen. Oh, people are gonna want this kitchen with all the mess. Try not to do jerky movements like I did there, side to side. You're in your dining room. Now we're gonna go over back into the hallway. Just keep tilting your wrist to go left and right. And we're gonna tilt our wrist again and come back to where we started from. And then we're gonna add one more feature to make it even cooler. All right, so let's put it over in front of me right here. Right about there. I'll let go. And now one more thing to show you on your motion controller. If you stop and you want to look up, you just tilt your wrist up, tilt your wrist down. But if you want to look side to side, nothing happens because you have not pulled in the trigger. But we can change that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my menu. I'm going to pull from the top. So pull your joystick backwards, go over to head tracking, turn it on, and hang on. There we go. You got to be holding this at the same time. All right, so let me hold this and get rid of this. There we go. All right, so now with the head tracking on, I can look over at me. There, I'm looking at me. Look this way, look that way, look all over the place. So now when you fly around your house, you can actually look to the sides as well as up and down. Let me show you what I mean. So going through the house here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to fly through. And I'm going to say, this is a beautiful living room. Or is this the family room? I never remember. And then before you turn, we're just going to look with our head. And then we're going to turn the drone and look back. That probably didn't look as elegant as I wanted it to, but you get the idea what I was trying to do there. So try this again. This time I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to look to the left to show more of the kitchen. Look over there as I'm going into the wall, and then we're going to go into our dining area here. And while we're in the dining area, I'm going to fly under this lamp over here, but I can look up at the lamp. There we are. And I can look around the room. I'm turning my head at the same time I'm flying here. Try not to smash into things. And I can look that way. I can look back. I can look back out where we came from and then go through. It's pretty cool. If you get really good at doing real estate videos, you can get really good at making an indoor real estate video with the Avata 2. Going over stuff and then coming through. And let's try this again. There's a hallway over here on the left. Last time we passed it. I'm going to look at the hallway as we pass. I'll go slow by the hallway. There we are. And then I'll look back to the room we're going to go into. Over here and then come back in, looking through here. And there I am. And then I want to stop here and look over to me. And there we are. And I'm going to look the other way. And we're going to land it. So now to land your Avata 2, you just hold down that button you use to cause it to take off. So hold it down, the orange button, and we should be going down. Going down. And there we go. We are all done with the Avata 2 for flying indoors. It's pretty cool. Obviously, I'm not very good at flying indoors with the motion controller because the motion controller is not my thing. But I guarantee if you buy the Avata 2 and you fly indoors, I don't know, for about an hour, half hour, you're going to get really good and make some stunning, outstanding real estate videos. All right, we're outdoors, and this portion of the video is going to be about using the motion controller and flying the Avata 2 around. Now, I have the DJI Mini 4 Pro circling me, so hopefully between this camera and the camera I have way over there and my hat cam, I can capture everything with the motion controller. So for beginners, to take off, you probably know this already. You see this big orange button up here, brightly colored. You tap that twice and the motors will start. Once, twice. They're spinning, and to make it launch in the air, all I do is hold it down. Now, a lot of people would fly with their goggles on, but you really don't need to. The Avata is like a Mavic, and you can fly it just like the Minis flying around me. It's very easy to control. All right, so it's sitting right there. I can move this around. Nothing happens. You have to press in the trigger a little bit. So I'm going to press in the trigger and then tilt my wrist to the left. Pressing the trigger and tilting to the left, and then I can spin it around. Same thing to do the other way. Spin. It's very simple to use. Spinning, spinning. And to fly in that direction, just pull my trigger and fly that direction. Nice and slow. I'm pulling the trigger in slow. And if I want to take the drone towards me, I tilt my wrist and I can bring it over to me. Going around me, and I can spin it around here. Take it up, lift my wrist up, take it down, take it up, bring it back this way.
going zigzaggy everywhere. It's very easy to fly. Very, very easy to fly. I'll try not to hit the Mini, so I'll go under it, come back this way. I wouldn't do this in sport mode. I'm in normal mode right now. So never do something like this in sport mode. That would be dangerous. Now say you're flying and you want to stop it because something's going wrong. So when you have your goggles on and you want to stop, you hit that orange button again. It acts as a braking system. So watch, I'll show you. I'll just take it away from you for a second. Over here. And then I'll bring it back. And then I'm flying. I'm going, oh, I don't know what to do. It's coming at me. Hit the orange button. Whoa, it stops right there. Oh, I thought I wanted to land. I don't want to land. So the orange button is like a stop button. So if you're flying, I'm going to hit it. It just stops it right there. Now, if you hold down the orange button, it goes into land mode. Goes to the land, but I don't want to land, so I'm going to hit it again. It pauses it. And now I can bring it back up. Just lift my wrist up, and we're going to go up. Up, 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 up. There we are. And I'll bring it away over the Mini and then back this way. And then I'm going to bring it away down towards me. Right here. Coming down. Now, it will crash into you. There's no obstacle avoidance. So if I have my hand out, it's going to crash into whatever's in front. This button in the center is your mode button. So I can go from normal to sport. I don't want to mess with that. And this button on the side is to start and stop recording or take a photo. Now, if you want, there's a big joystick on top. You can turn it and watch what happens. You can just slide side to side, and if you tilt your wrist, you can slide in a circle like that. I'm doing like 180 donuts now. Now this dial on the side, when you press it in, if you go into Easy Acro, this changes your Easy Acro mode. So I don't have my goggles on, but I'm pretty sure I can do Easy Acro just flying it here. Let me try this. Right now I'm recording this on my phone screen, so in order to go into Easy Acro, I have to put the goggles on and go into the menu system. But if you're doing like me right now and you just have a cell phone at the bottom, connected to your goggles, all you do is you press the orange button, it goes into pause, and also look at on my goggles now or on my display, I have this little laser beam coming out. So I'm going to go up to the top menu and I'm going to select it. And I'm going to go down to Easy Acro, and it's engaged now. I'm going to flip to one of the sides. Here we go. Flip. Whoa. Flip the other side. And flip to the front. And flip to the back. There we go. The only thing is you can't change the rate of the flip. So it flips at the same speed all the time. So I'm going to turn my wheel. There it is, 180 drift. So I've just selected it. So let me just show you 180 drift. I'm facing me here. I want it to spin 180 in the opposite direction. Just move the joystick to the direction you want to go. There we go. 180 drift that way. 180 drift this way. You're going, well, that's pretty lame. That doesn't look exciting. Well, you have to be moving. So here, coming at me. And then 180. And she's still going. Yay. The only problem with the 180 drift is watch, it's going to stop. It comes to a stop. I would have preferred it if it kept on flying. So watch this again. 180 drift. We'll go this way, looking at me. Coming around. And it's going to stop. I've got the trigger in all the way. It stops. Now I'm going to land this. And I'll put those two little Easy Acros in the practice. Because you really can't see them doing anything awesome out here when I'm flying it like this. So let me land it. Put it over the landing pad. There we go. Hold down the orange button. And she goes down. So the purpose of this whole portion of the video is just to show you that you can fly it like a Mavic. You just take the motion controller, make sure you're in normal speed mode. Don't go into anything like sport mode because you will fly it into your head or somebody else. And you can fly it around. And it's really good to learn how to fly line of sight like that, especially with your wrist, because then when you put the goggles on, it is so much easier. All right, Mini 4, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these FPV goggles on, and I'm going to show you the Easy Acro in, certain scenarios you would use it in. So here we go. All right, in this segment of the video, I'm going to take the Avata for a flight using the motion controller. I'll fly it in normal and sport mode, and I'm going to show you the Easy Acro. Now, let me mention this now because I'll probably forget to mention it later, but when you buy the Avata 2, it comes with the goggles down here, the Avata sitting over on the landing pad over there, and the motion controller. This motion controller is designed to work with the Avata 2 and the goggles. It is not designed to work with anything else in the FPV hobby. As a matter of fact, if you want to use head tracking, which are in the Goggles 3, you saw me turn it on at the start of this video in the first portion, well, the head tracking only works with the motion controller. In addition, if you want to fly and do easy acro in normal or sport mode, and you're thinking it's pretty cool on the motion controller, which I'm about to show you, but maybe I want to do it on the remote controller 3. Well, this FPV Remote 3 does not have easy acro. There's no buttons assigned, at least not out of the box yet, so you can't do it if you use this. But I'm sure DJI will add it in the future. Now you see I'm wearing the goggles, and one thing I've noticed for my area, it's very cold this morning. It's just at freezing the temperature, so it's not hot and it's not cold. So my goggles fog up, but I have to manually turn on the goggles defog. So I've turned it on. You may or may not hear it, but the fans start up on top of the goggles and it defogs the whole lens. You probably don't need that if you live in certain areas of the world where you don't experience the same temperature changes like I do. Okay, we're all set to go. Double tap, motor start, and hold down the orange button and we'll lift off using the motion controller. We'll just go straight up. Okay, let's go forward through these trees. I'm on normal speed, so I'm going full blast. Now you can thunder into the ground quite easily. If you go too low like this, I'll just smash into the ground, but I'm not going to do it here. All right, so the whole purpose of this portion of the video is just to show you the easy acro, which you can do. So right now, you have to be mindful as I'm buzzing around myself here. I can crash into these trees, my Jeep, anything. You just have to make sure you keep that circle always pointing in a location that is not going to cause a problem. And like I showed you before, you do have that orange button. Say I was going at my Jeep and I go, oh my God, hit the orange button. There we go. I'm in pause mode. Everything stops and I can unpause it and then carry on. I'm going to use me for the drift, the 180 drift. And I'm just going to drift to the right. There we go. And I missed that post in the back nicely. So that's what you would use it for, but it probably looks pretty lame what I'm doing here. Let me just drift on me again. There we go. Goes back. You can get some cool video if you're doing some speed, so let me show you what I mean. Usually when you go through something, a drift is cool. So there we go, and drift. There we go, like that. That's what you want. Soccer posts, I'm gonna drift to the left, and through. There we go. So that should look pretty cool. Try that again. Going through, and I'll drift to the left. There we are. If you come really close to something, it looks pretty cool. I do find the drift works low to the ground, unlike the little 360 rolls that you do, the flips. Oh, and somebody's probably going to ask, does it work in sport mode? So here, let me just change modes. I have gloves on, it's hard to find the button. All right, I'm in sport mode. So now you can fly even faster. Let's see if drift works. No. Unable to perform easy acro in sport mode, it says. So no, you're out of luck there. But I am showing you sport mode at the moment. You can fly quite fast with this. I would suggest for anybody who's a beginner, when you're flying in sport mode, using the motion controller, just keep it above tree height or else you're going to crash into something. But let's try the brakes. Brake! Makes a lot of noise, but it did stop. Now the one bonus on this is that the 360 flips are very accurate. I'm going to go through a tight space and flip it right through here. So good speed, and right in front of me, and still going. Woohoo! Let's try that again. I'm gonna do the same thing, but a backwards flip this time, so you'll see the sky a little bit differently. Coming through, right over me, and backwards flip. And still going through the trees, and a backwards flip. Woohoo! With this, I'm gonna flip to the side this time. Make sure you're straight, and up, and flip. And I hit a tree. All right, I'm in the grass. Here we go. And let's see if we can go up. Come on. Oh, the camera was pointing down. There we go. Okay, so I could take off again. So obviously I hit that tree up there. My lens is probably all dirty. Yeah, I could see all sorts of droplets on it. All right, let me come back and clean the lens and we'll take it for another spin. So now I'm over the landing pad, but I can't be 100% sure I'm over the landing pad. So I'm gonna move the motion controller all the way down until I see myself over the landing pad here. Oh, there we are. I think I'm good now, and then I'm gonna land it. Close enough. All right, let's go clean that camera lens. Now, a lot of people who get the Avata 2 will fly with the motion controller because that's what it comes with. But after a while, you're probably going to get bored of the motion controller because you want to get a little bit better at your flying skills. And you might have been used to a Mavic in the past, if you flew a Mavic in the past. So then you're going to want to buy the DJI FPV Remote Controller 3. When you get the Remote Controller 3, this joystick is in the center. On mine, I have taken the screws in the back and I have loosened them so that my joystick falls down like that, because I'm going to fly in manual mode, and that's the whole reason of having this. But if you're not going to fly in manual mode, you're only going to fly in normal and sport mode, you can just leave this joystick in the center. It's not a big deal. And quickly, when you get this, it will not work with everything you've bought already. You have to bind it to your goggles and everything else. So the way you do that is you turn on your drone, you turn on your goggles, and then you turn this on. And when everything is on, then you have to put your goggles in bind mode. How do you do that? Just hold the power button on your goggles in for a few seconds. They will start beeping and the lights will start flashing. Now your goggles are in bind mode. Hold the power button on this in for a few seconds. Oh my God, I hit the wrong button. Then hold the power button on this in for a few seconds until it starts beeping and the lights start flashing. It will bind to your goggles and then you're all set. And just as a warning, don't have your motion controller on at the same time, because sometimes it gets confused and it says, what? There's a motion controller and there's another controller. Which one am I going to use? Because you can't use both at the same time. So make sure your motion controller is off when you're binding this to your goggles and your drone. And then in the future, when you go fly, just like I'm doing here, if I turn on the motion controller, the goggles in the drone, then it knows I want to fly with the motion controller. If I turn on this, the goggles in the drone, then it knows I want to fly with this. Too simple. And when you have this transmitter, it automatically is set up like a basic transmitter in the FPV hobby. In other words, say you crash and lose your drone someplace and you can't find it, you press the C1 button, it beeps like hell and it flashes a little bit of lights. I think it flashes lights. No, there's no lights flashing. Sorry, it just beeps. All right, we're going to take the Avata 2 for a flight using the DJI Remote 3. So in this flight video, it's going to be extremely short. I'm just going to do all three modes: normal, sport, and manual. Okay, we're in normal mode. We're going to take off. I'm going to start my motors by pulling the joysticks down and out. There we are, and lift the left joystick and we go up. And I'm going to spin the drone to look at me. There I am right there. Now, one important thing to say, if you do get the DJI Remote 3, do not drop the left joystick until you know you are ready to fly in manual mode. Because if you drop the left joystick and then you try to fly in normal or sport mode, the drone may not hover because the left joystick has no center position. It might fall, especially if you don't adjust it correctly. So that's my words of advice to beginners. Let's fly around here in normal mode really quick. And I just want to show you, if you're going to do exploration flying and you have this controller, the Remote 3, well then it's super easy just to fly through everything. You don't have to worry about hitting anything because your reaction time is massively fast compared to using the Motion 3 controller. So there we go. You can see I'm going through all these trees. No issue there. I know it doesn't look like anything exceptional. Okay, let's spin that around and we'll stick it in sport mode. So I'll flick this switch to sport mode and there we go. Now we're in sport mode. So now in sport mode, you can do the same thing, but you're obviously flying much faster. So you have to have really good reaction times or else you're going to crash into something or somebody. So just make sure if you're in sport mode that you've practiced for a while with your little remote control. So one thing on the remote is that obviously if you're in normal mode or sport mode, you can't do any acro. The acro is not active in here, the easy acro, and you can't do it by yourself manually. I can't flip it no matter what I do. I can do all these things, but she won't flip. However, if you put the remote into manual mode and you have your left joystick dropped, then you can do anything you want. So let me just switch it into manual mode here. I have to get the joysticks just right, and I'm in manual mode. So now, in manual mode, you see how I'm staring out the ground? Well, that's just me flying and pointing the nose down. You can fly at high speed in manual mode. You could do all your flips and rolls like this, normal stuff. So in manual, that's what it's designed for, so that there are no sensors operating. However, with the Avata, I do find the sensors are still active, some of them, because I was flying on a windy day, and if the wind gets too crazy and it starts to blow your drone around, even in manual mode, it switches out of manual and goes back into normal. It just says it's too windy to fly in manual. I've never heard of such a thing before, but apparently DJI put that in the Avata. So on the remote, they've stuck the pause button and the return to home button in one. So if you're flying and things are getting crazy, press the pause button or hold it in if you want return to home. I'll show you that right now really quick. And we'll come over here. Like say I'm going like this and I'm going like this and things are going out of control. I'm gonna hit the pause button. There we go. It says aircraft braking on my screen. If I want to say, oh, that's it, I'm done. I've flown too much. I'll just hold that button in and it'll go into return to home. So I'm going to hold it in. Hear that beautiful sound? That is the return to home process happening. So now I don't need the remote anymore. I can just put it down and I can go check out where it's coming down to land. So I think I set mine to like go up 45 meters or 35 meters. I think something like that. You set it up in the goggles for return home and then it comes back. The only problem I just realized on return home, I got to show you this. Look at this. See this tree? It's got to pass that tree to get down, but I think it's going to do it. It's right there. It's coming down. Looks like it's okay. It's missing the branches. Oh well, if it hit a branch. It's pretty tough. And coming down, coming down. Where are you going to land? Coming down, coming down. You can see the landing pad. Oh my God, this thing is accurate. Check that out. Ho ho! That is pretty darn good.
All right, so you're back to me, and all I want to say is if you have questions on the Avata 2, then post them below and I'll get back to you. I should also mention that if you'd like to buy the Avata 2 Fly More kit or just the Avata with one battery or just the Avata by itself, I am going to put links to the best deals on the internet below. Go check them out. They're right below this video. In future videos of the Avata 2, I'll probably make a video showing newbies how to fly in manual mode so you can fly in full acro just like real FPV pilots. And then after I get a lot more flight time with the Avata 2 and learning what's good about it and what's not so good about it, then I'll make a video on the positives and negatives. So stay tuned for those videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. But for now, I say thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and stay tuned for more videos in the future. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up and I'll catch you in a future video with many more cool product reviews. Until then, I say bye!